Martha Casavon.
Here.
Pug Lauren. Here. Marcus Hines. Here. Todd Richard. Here. Bernie Willie. Bill Matthews.
Here.
Jimmy Davis.
Here.
Dave Manella.
Here.
Dale Mackey.
Here.
Ron Randolph.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, we have a quorum.
Thank you very much. I'd like to bring your attention to phones and pagers. Please put them on vibrate or turn them off. Appeals, there's cards over here on my right on the end of the railing. If you disagree with any of the decisions of this commission, please feel free to fill one out and turn it into staff, and you appeal to the parish council. Speaker cards, again, over to my right here on the railing. Anyone wishing to speak, it's 10 minutes for each side and 5 minutes rebuttal. And after the case is heard, please exit the building. Don't go out in the foyer out there. It's just all the sound comes back in here and disturbs the meeting. Please rise for the invocation by Mr. Ron Randolph.
Gracious Father, once again, we want to thank you for watching over us this day. Thank you for all the blessings bestowed in our lives. And Lord, we thank you for this commissioner and all those that take part in this committee. Let our decision be rightful for the parish and for the needs that we face every day. And all these blessings we ask in your Son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Pardon me, you lead us in the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item on the agenda is approval of the December 11th meetings. It was in your packet. Hopefully, commissioners have had an opportunity to review, and if there's no corrections or changes that need to be made, I'll accept a motion for approval.
It looked like it was okay. I didn't find anything of significance.
Okay.
Make the
We have a
motion.
motion and a second to approve. Please vote. Thank you. Motion carries. Public hearings, consent calendar, performance obligations, and entering parish rights-of-way. Any item not pulled from the consent calendar are automatically dispensed by vote as approved and/or as per staff comments. Items pulled from the consent calendar shall be discussed and voted on individually. Are there any items that staff needs to have pulled?
No, sir.
Thank you. Commissioners, do you have any item on here you wish to have pulled and discussed individually?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the resolution about the entering the right-of-way, there's a correction that needs to be made in it.
Okay. Anyone else? All right, entering parish right-of-way, servitudes easement, entering the parish right-of-way, Hardin, Richardson, Howard, Beatty, Bushworth, Callery, Mickle, Soniat, Alford, and E. Lagoon, North 8th and Davis Street, Shamrock Drive, and Beverly, and Mitchell Roads, Ward 8 and 9, District 7 and 13. Request to enter parish right-of-way for the purpose of laying fiber optics. The debtor is Southern Light LLC, Parish Council District Representatives, Honorable Jacob Groby and Richard Artique. Staff? Any comments?
Could you clarify which one was pulled?
Entering the parish right-of-way. The question I have is that number 4, it talks about that the insurance will remain in effect until the parish takes over maintenance. I don't think that's correct, is it? The parish doesn't take over maintenance when somebody enters the right-of-way, do they? It'll stay in effect until, there's a release of the performance obligation or whatever, but it's not maintenance.
Yeah, this is for fiber optic. We wouldn't maintain the fiber optic. Yeah, it should be. I believe you're correct, yeah.
I think the last sentence should be struck completely.
Well, the insurance needs to remain in effect until some time. Do we normally, when they're finished, give some certificate or something that they're finished, or what?
I'm not sure exactly with the paperwork. I know they're gonna notify that we're finished. Then we would inspect it and approve it, so I guess that would be your,
That's the inspection and approval, then. It would have to remain in effect until the inspection and approval. I'd like to amend it to read that way.
Okay, we have a motion to amend, entering the parish right of way. Do I have a second?
Yeah, number 4. The last sentence of number.
Number 4, very last sentence, the insurance will remain in effect until the parish takes over maintenance, releases, the performance obligation.
We need to change that. Until the parish has inspected and, what is it, Paul,
approved.
approved?
So you're really striking the last sentence?
No, we're saying the insurance will remain in effect until the parish has inspected and approved the, the work?
Okay, everybody understand? Any,
Well, that's what I asked. and he suggested.
are we clear?
I have a question. What is this insurance covering? The performance of the jet work or the actual resulting damages that may occur? Okay.
Damages or injuries on the job, things like that.
Okay, well, then essentially, the insurance needs to be in effect as long as they're working. It has nothing to do with the completed operations. We're not responsible, they're not responsible for whether or not the fiber optics work. This is purely a liability coverage for while they're on the premises.
Yeah, basically so that they, their insurance covers it. We don't get sued and get holding the bag if somebody gets hurt or something like that.
So, once they're finished, parish has inspected it, says that they're finished, then the
So
insurance.
until the work is complete.
Yeah, that's what, they get a certificate that work has been completed.
You comfortable with that, Todd?
Right, right, that's exactly it.
Others? Paul?
If the parish releases the performance obligation, then
We
work
could
is
word it that
complete,
way
right?
for,
So it remains into effect until that time. It appears that they put 4 words in there.
I think
No, the
takes over the maintenance.
parish
is
doesn't
what's
take over
concerning.
maintenance.
So we don't maintain the
Wait a minute,
fiber
folks.
optic line, we
Remain in
maintain,
effect.
right,
Let's one at a time. We had 2 people talking to Paul, and I don't think anybody was understanding.
Can I make a suggestion, please? Can we just restate that the insurance will remain in effect until the parish releases the performance obligation, and that should take care of it? Once they release the performance obligation, everything's been inspected and checked.
Okay, Bill, you,
Well, when does the parish release the performance obligation? That was what I kind of asked initially.
It would be released after the work is approved, so it should be
So
fine
it's the
to
same
word it
thing?
like that.
Okay. Then we just need to delete till the parish releases the performance obligation. The take over the maintenance needs to be deleted.
okay, we have a motion and a second. Is everybody clear on what the amendment is? Please vote. Motion carries. All right, back to the consent calendar. We need a motion on the performance obligations. Since it was not pulled, we need a motion on the consent calendar.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Matthews, seconded by Mr. Willie. Please vote. Motion carries. Thank you. Let's see here. Petitions, request entering the Tammany trace, we have none. Revocations, closing, none. Re-subdivision review, none. Dormant subdivision review, none. Tentative subdivision review, none. And preliminary subdivision review, we have 2. SD 12-08-004P, Garden Walk, Ward 3, District 5. The developer owner is Citadel Builders, engineers Kelly McHugh and Associates, Parish Council District Representatives Honorable Marty Dean. This was tabled at the December, or postponed at the December 11th meeting. Staff?
The preliminary plans and hydrologic study have been reviewed by this office and an inspection was made of the site. It is recommended that preliminary submittal be approved subject to the following. A is okay. B, lots 1, 2, and 25 Jordan Loop cul-de-sac and portions of green space are shown on what is Parish-owned property. Furnish documentation that this is now owned by the developer. A work order will not be issued until recorded documentation is furnished. Documentation will need to be submitted for the proposed drainage servitudes outside the subdivision boundaries. The extension of Emerald Forest Boulevard, including ditches, must conform to the existing road construction plans. Details of your parcel implementation can be discussed. That's basically saying they have to follow our existing road design that we have on file. Provide St. Tammany Parish Engineering with LDQAIN for this project and maintain a SWIP on the site for inspections. There needs to be something in writing saying the developer understands that once Emerald Forest extension is built, the easternmost driveway will be right in, right out only. When the portions of Emerald Forest Boulevard extension are built as indicated, they must be in accordance with Parish's construction plans and specs for that project. Crosswalk detail must be shown on the plans and follow MUTCD guidelines. This includes striping and signage. Increase radii of entrances to 35 feet. J is okay. Signage plan layout of Emerald Forest Boulevard must agree with the paving and drainage plan layout. Funded maintenance obligation in the amount of $15,000 in accordance with Ordinance 499 for existing parish roads to ensure the repair of any damage to parish roads resulting from construction activity in connection with subdivisions required. Mandatory developmental fees will be required at final submittal in accordance with Ordinance 499 since no public hearing was held prior to January 1st, 2005. Department of Planning has comments.
Comment 1, the preliminary draft copy of the Declaration of Covenants and Restrictions should be remitted to this department for review prior to the developer receiving a work order in conjunction with the preliminary subdivision approval process. Number 2, the developer has depicted green space and amenities within the development pursuant to parish code requirements. Therefore, the developer should be prepared to present a recreational development plan for staff review and approval prior to the developer receiving a work order in conjunction with the preliminary subdivision approval process. Environmental Services has a comment.
Plans and specifications for the construction of the project's water distribution lines and sewer collection lines have not yet been approved by the Department of Health and Hospitals as required. No work order will be issued until the submittal. Submitted plans and specifications are approved by DHH.
Thank you. Mr. Maroon.
Thank you, Mr. Daugherty. Members of the commission, Paul Maroon on behalf of Citadel Builders and the Garden Walk Development. You will recall that I appeared last month when we had a lot of other additional items that needed to be addressed. As you can see, we've addressed probably 2 pages of those items in the intervening month. And actually some of the items, as Mr. Carroll noted on the list now, have also been addressed. Of those items that remain, we have no problem or complaint with any of the staff's recommendations, save for one clarification with item F. And in item F, it provides that there needs to be something in writing saying that the developer understands that the once Emerald Forest extension is built, the easternmost driveway will be right in, right out only. And we don't have any objection to that. The issue comes in, if you will recall, that the original plan for the Emerald Forest Boulevard extension is a boulevard with median cuts. However, there is no plan presently to build a boulevard there. There's just a 2-lane road. When we extend, we will be extending simply the 2-lane road. While it is a 2-lane road, there wouldn't be the need for the right in, right out only because there is no median cut at that point. So in talking with engineering today, Mr. Earl Magner in particular, he was in agreement with that. And we would like to make sure that the commission is aware of that and does not have a problem. So as long as it's a 2-lane road, we understand that driveway can have full access. However, if at any point in the future the parish determines that they want to create a boulevard out there contrary to their current plans, we understand and have no objection to providing in writing or on the face of the plat that at that point it would in fact become a right in, right out only. Otherwise, the other items listed are all items that you are aware of, primarily regarding the servitudes on the two-lane property, which we will be hopefully discussing with them further tomorrow. Also with the property owner to the north, there is a meeting tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. with him to try to finalize those items. So we expect to have that done very shortly, and at that point, we can provide the necessary documentation to your staff to prove that, in fact, those items are in place before the work order would be requested and ultimately issued. I'll be happy to answer any questions that the commission members may have.
Okay, Mr. Davis.
Yes, Paul, so
Yes.
as I can see written on the plat here, that portion of the road in Phase 1 that goes all the way up to Garden Walk Drive, that will be built to our standards, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
That's
And that'll
correct.
be done, and then you'll go ahead and you'll develop the Garden Walk Drive, you'll build the lots 26 to 45, and then they'll be sold, correct? Before you start going into Phase 2?
That's correct.
Okay. Now, while these lots, after this point, the lots are sold to developers or whoever, and they start building their homes out there, there'll be a lot of traffic going down Garden Walk Drive, correct?
There will be.
Okay.
Yes.
But didn't we talk before about, before you start getting into Phase 2, about having some sort of access to this cul-de-sac temporarily for Phase 2? Has that been worked out?
Yeah, we don't have any objection to having a construction access in that as we get to Phase 2 to alleviate the construction traffic off of the main
Right.
entrance.
So
Yes.
that was my biggest concern,
Yes.
is instead of having, because I mean, the construction for building the houses is much different than the construction for building the lots. And that was my, does that have to be written somewheres, or, I'm asking now engineering, does that have to be written somewheres, or? That way the access for Phase 2 is not the access through Phase 1.
I can note it down that they have a
Okay.
construction driveway for constructing Phase 2.
What I would suggest is that to the extent that there is a motion to approve, subject to staff comments, that there be, in addition to those comments, that when Phase 2 is constructed, that there be a construction access
access.
directly off of the Emerald Forest
Right.
extension.
That's what I would like to see. Okay, that's all I have to say.
Ron? No, it's, Nate.
Me?
Dave, you?
Paul, question for you.
Yes, sir.
Oh, wrong Paul.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry
Okay.
about that.
Too many
I should have
Daves.
used last names. You feel comfortable with the drainage configuration regarding the size of detention and off-site flow?
Yes,
Capability.
provided they can work out the off-site construction on, the easements they'll have outside the subdivision boundaries. If they can do that, it should be fine.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Matthews.
Paul Morone.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Got a couple of questions on some of these things on the plat, and it's primarily, I just maybe don't understand what you're doing. In the green space on the walkways, there are little rectangles, looks like about 3 in each one of these things. What are those?
Those will be exercise stations.
Okay, that's good. The walkways as they cross Fleur Lane, the northern ones and the southern ones don't seem to line up. Is that something that needs to be corrected, or looks like you're gonna be walking down the street for a ways? You see that?
Let's see, I'm sorry, I didn't, where are you exactly?
The walkways, the two center walkways, okay, as they cross Fleur Lane, the walkways don't line up. You're gonna go into the Fleur Lane and have to walk down the street, it looks like, to get to the other walkway.
Right, they do not line up exactly, but you'll be able to cross over, and then there will be access in the right, off of the roadway in the right-of-way to get back to the extension of that walking path.
Okay, the southern part of Fleur Lane is a walkway, is that what that looks like?
That's correct.
Okay, is that gonna be separated from the Fleur Lane some kind of way, it'd be a curb or?
Yes.
Something?
It'll be, essentially, it'll be a sidewalk.
Okay, okay.
Is-
All right. And one other question, something I saw and I just don't understand. Lots 19, 31, 40, 51, 55, 36, 35, and 15, have a little notch out of them. Is that their driveway? Is that what that is?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. All, the rest of them have come off
Those will be side-loaded as opposed to the front-loaded, which is most of them.
okay, and that's because of the corner?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I do want to compliment you all on having practical, useful, and efficient green space rather than something stuck off in a corner over here. You got green space that people can actually use, and that's a good thing.
Thank you.
Any other comments by any commissioners? Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve with the added information.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Subdivision SD 05-08-019P, Hidden Creek, Ward 1, District 1. Developer owner is Hidden Creek LLC. Engineer is Meyer Engineers Limited. Parish Council District Honorable Marty Dean. The developer is requesting this be tabled or postponed. Mr. Keller, any particular reason?
I'm not really aware of any reasons. Paul, do you know why they're requesting it? No.
Okay, all right. Do we have a motion to postpone? We have a motion and a second to postpone until the February meeting. Please vote. Motion carries. Final subdivision review, we don't have any. Proposed amendments to ordinance, none. Old business. Entering parish right-of-way, Lindbergh Drive, Ward 8, District 14, request to enter parish right-of-way for the purpose of laying and connecting an 8-inch PVC water line. The debtor is PDRG, Parish Council District Representatives, Honorable T.J. Smith. Staff?
The above referenced resolution was adopted on July 10th, 2012. The resolution states that the petitioner must submit all documentation within 6 months from the date of adoption. The petitioner has not furnished all documentation and has requested that a time extension be granted. See attached letter dated December 4th, 2012 from the petitioner. The following action is required by the Planning Commission to allow for the extension of time. Extend the adoption date from January 8th, 2013, thereby extending 6 months submittal of the documentation to July 8th, 2013, and the completion date to January 8th, 2015. The Department of Engineering has no objection to the extension of these dates.
Thank you. Anyone in the audience wish to comment? Close the floor to the public and bring it back to the commission. Any comments?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Paul, I do have a question on this. Are we requiring the city of Slidell to bore under any existing roadways? We're not going to allow them to cut it?
I don't know the details. That's usually what we do.
I know that's usually what we request them to do, but I also know that North Pearl Drive got cut instead of bored.
I didn't review the plan for all this, so I don't know the details on it.
Okay, please do, because we don't need the roads being cut. Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve. Please vote. Motion carries. Next item is entering parish right-of-way, McKinney Road, Ward 8, District 14. Request to enter parish right-of-way for the purpose of laying and connecting a 10-inch PVC sewer line. The debtor is City of Slidell. Parish Council District Representatives, Honorable T.J. Smith. Staff?
The above reference resolution was adopted on July 10th, 2012. The resolution states that the petitioner must submit all documentation within 6 months from the date of adoption. The petitioner has not furnished all documentation and has requested that a time extension be granted. See the attached letter dated December 5th, 2012 from the petitioner. The following action is required by the Planning Commission to allow the extension of time. Extend adoption date to January 8th, 2013, thereby extending the 6-month submittal of documentation to July 8th, 2013, and the completion date to January 8th, 2015. The Department of Engineering has no objection to extend these dates.
Thank you. Anyone wish to speak on this in the public? I'll close the floor to the public, bring it back to the commission. Motion to approve and second.
Second.
Okay, any
I have a,
discussion?
I have a discussion. Now, in the letter from the Slidell City engineer, he requests 12 months, but are we saying we're only giving him 6? Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Please vote. Motion carries. Thank you. We have no new business. Anyone wish to bring up anything for new business?
Mr. Dougherty, just want to advise the commission that our meeting date is going to be next February and Wednesday, the day after Mardi Gras, instead of our normal Tuesday.
You gonna furnish any kind of headache dope or anything?
What's that?
You gonna furnish any Tylenol or anything?
I'm not sure how many people on this committee would need that, but
Probably
oh,
not many.
I can see one maybe.
All right, motion to adjourn. Thank you.